Hey guys, it's Jeremy Krulikowski here. It's so great to be on live today with you guys, and really, I just want to address those right now that are struggling with financial stress. So again, this live is going to be specifically for you if you are dealing with financial stress, and really, what we're going to be talking about is there are some extremely dangerous, deadly coping mechanisms that come from a life filled with financial stress. Okay. So, what I'm saying again is that there are some coping mechanisms that are extremely harmful for your body, for your marriage, and for your wealth. And if you do not address the underlying financial stress and learn how to overcome these coping mechanisms that stem from that, I can promise you, like I said, those are the three areas of your life that you're going to see continue to suffer and continue to get beaten up and get hurt. And so we're going to talk about that today. But thanks again for joining us. So, what made me want to talk about this? Well, guys, I do hundreds of calls talking with couples, and as I'm taking notes and talking about how's this really affecting your life, so many things come up that are really pretty serious if they don't go addressed. And really what we're talking about are coping mechanisms, right? So all of us have things in our life that when we are stressed, we run to. So we all have our poison, right? Just pick one. For some of us, it's a little bit, at times it's a little bit, we would say, it's a little bit more innocent. So when you're stressed out, what's the first thing you go to? I don't have my phone here, but you flip up your phone. You're surfing your phone, you're going on Facebook, you're hitting the Instagram, you're hitting YouTube, you're hitting whatever. That's where going to. Some people, it's maybe you pick up a book as an escape route. Some people, maybe you just flip on and you binge out on Netflix or just scrolling the internet or whatever. So some people would say that's kind of innocent. Well, we're gonna get into the really, the really serious stuff in a second. But even that, okay, there's a lot of people that because you're stressed, you start doing busy work. And you might ask, well, how is that going to destroy ultimately? How could that destroy my marriage? How could that destroy my body? How could that destroy my wealth? Well, let's just talk about that for a second. Yeah, my Ashley, thanks for being vulnerable. Here's those cookies yesterday. Well, guys, here's the thing. When you go to busy work, sometimes specifically like overworking, we just had a couple recently where the biggest way that she was handling the stress was to overwork, was to work too much and to escape her family at night and to go work, because for her, that was the one area of life that she felt like she had control over. Even though her marriage and her money wasn't there, at least she could control that. And so she was overworking. Well, how was that affecting her marriage? It was destroying her marriage. Her relationship with her husband was suffering. Her relationship with her kids were suffering. There were some nights she couldn't even tuck them into bed because she was so addicted to the work as a way to cope with the stress. So that's one. Another one, I mean, again, you think about how does that affect your wealth? Well, for all of us, there are certain things that you need to be doing and that you should be doing that would grow your wealth. If you're a business owner, if you're working for a company and there's projects that that could get you to where you want to be, or proposals or things like that, maybe it's applying for a new job, maybe it's coming up with a new product, maybe it's doing a Facebook Live if you're a business owner, or whatever it would be, or sending out an email and you're not doing it. Why? Because you're turning to other busy work instead of actually dealing with that as a way to deal with the financial stress. Because when you're under financial stress, it's extremely hard to be doing the things that are actually productive that you need to be doing for your business. So that's how it's going to destroy your wealth. And just in one way, we could go on a whole rant on different ways just around that. But again, how does that destroy your body? Well, again, guys, think about that. When you're just doing busy work and you're doing things like that, and when you're going to entertainment and things like that, you're spending time doing those things as opposed to ways to be able to, nourish your body. Maybe instead of going to the gym or eating healthy or cooking good meals, you're turning to some of those other things, again, that are quick fixes, that are ways to be able to numb and medicate the pain, but really they're just making it worse. And so we'll just even stem from that, guys. Some of the stuff that gets a little bit more serious is, for some of you out there, it's you're eating too much. You're binge eating. You're eating on junk food. We've had so many people where, because you're stressed, you're going across the street to Starbucks, you're going out and buying stuff at work, you're going to hitting up the vending machines or whatever it would be, or you're buying stuff at the store that you don't need to try to numb the pain, to try to get over the stress. But ultimately, you're still at this point of the year saying, you know what, it's not working. And a lot of people, you're trying that, and it's obviously, how's it destroying your marriage? It's like, well, it's when you do that, what happens? You gain weight. You start to look less attractive to your spouse. And so that affects your marriage, that affects your intimacy. You don't feel as confident in the bedroom. For some of you, don't feel as confident in the boardroom. You're embarrassed about your weight. You're embarrassed about your appearance. And so it's affecting your confidence at work and your ability to build wealth. And other ways too, guys. That mean, guys, when you're thinking about that, your body has a very strong correlation with when you statistically, when it looks at your weight and people that are able to build wealth. Again, there's so much connected with that. There's so much shame that comes from that when you're overeating, when your body is suffering, everything that comes along with that, that goes along with that, that's part of it. And so when you can talk about your weight, for some of you guys, that's destroying that. Your health is suffering. Again, because you're overweight or because you're eating junk food, it's attacking your lungs, it's attacking your heart, it's attacking your body, your arteries, your brain. Your whole body is being affected because of the financial stress and where you're turning to that to cope. And guys, I'm talking to everybody right now. This affects everybody, especially even Christians in the church. Yes, you're human, and if you're like anybody, you have coping mechanisms. And some of you, it's food, it's fast food, whatever it would be. Again, how's it destroying your wealth? Well, that's money that could be going to build your dream, and instead it's going to continue to harm your body. So we could talk about that, guys. For some of you guys, just to go another step there, it's smoking or chewing. Some of you, you're chewing tobacco. We've had clients that were spending hundreds of dollars a month on tobacco because, again, that was a way to deal with the pain and to suppress the pain and to turn there as a way to cope with it and just to get a little bit of relief and deal with some of the stress. And obviously, guys, you know how it destroys your body. It's on the pack of cigarettes or on the tobacco. You know that, but you do it anyway. Why? Because you don't know how to overcome the financial stress. Like I said, for some of you guys, it's working too hard. For some of you, because the financial stress is impacting your relationship, and even if it's not, which it almost always is, you're turning to pornography. You're turning to sexual things on the internet. Maybe it's even just soft porn. Maybe it's stuff that's, it's movies that, it's not as bad as it could be, but you know that it's not appropriate, and you're turning to that because ultimately you're trying to fill a void. You're trying to deal with the stress. Again, hormones go off in your brain, and at the same time, it also helps you to fill that void because there's a lack of intimacy and connection with you and your spouse. We talked to a lot of people who the financial stress it's affecting because you're arguing, you're not on the same page, you don't feel connected around your values that money represents. You're not having intimacy together. And so ultimately, again, for a lot of you, you're turning somewhere else. Maybe you're flirting with coworkers. Maybe you're doing things like that. Maybe, again, it seems innocent. Maybe you're sending messages or doing little things to the opposite sex. It may seem innocent, but guys, it's not. It's not. And that's just a coping mechanism. And guys, so again, how does that affect your wealth? How does that affect, guys, you see that your wealth, your health, your relationships, all of these things. And for a lot of people, again, if you're normal, especially around the holidays, what are you doing to cope? You guys know you're shopping, you're going on trips. For some people, they go on vacations, but for everybody, when you're feeling that sort of thing, I know even for myself, when I'm feeling stressed or things like that, I tend to buy more things at the store. Why? Because you're trying to fill a void, because you're trying to suppress the stress. And it works for just a little bit. It gives you just a little bit of hit of some of those chemicals in your brain, but ultimately it's short-lived. And so for some of you guys, the hard thing with that and what sucks about that is it just creates and reinforces this dependence upon spending. And so what happens is that especially it puts you further behind on your financial goals, which tends to lead to more guilt, which leads to more shame, especially if you're the one who tends to be the one who manages most of the money. And then if you think about that, now it leads to drama because now you're going to your spouse, you're talking about it, and where was this money going, and why did you spend money on this or that? And now you start to have arguments and you start clashing. And that creates more shame and guilt and more stress. And what happens when you do get stressed? You turn to the coping mechanisms, which then leads to, and guys, you see how it's this nasty, dangerous, self-perpetuating cycle. It is absolute poison for your marriage, for your wealth, and for your body. And guys, if you are not addressing it, it is time. It's time, guys. You have to deal with the poisons. You have to deal with the stress at the root and rip it out and learn how to get there, because otherwise it's going to be one more coping mechanism after the other. And before you know it, again, your health is going to be in the absolute tanks. Or in the tank. Guys, honestly, we have so many people that reach out to us, especially the women, but for men, it's there too. You just, sometimes the guys like to, try to hide a little bit more, but they're having some chest pain. They're breathing, they have some anxiety, whatever it would be. Their body's starting to get sore, their shoulders, because you're so stressed all the time. It's affecting your neck, and your neck's tightening up, or your shoulders. You're starting to get injured, or you've got a limp, or something's going on with your body. For a lot of women, you got autoimmune issues, you have different things like that, and it's causing some of that stress in your life. And it's one of those things, guys, that if you don't fix it at the root, it's going to continue to build, and your body can't heal until you remove the stress. Your marriage can't heal until you remove the stress, and your wealth cannot build until you remove the stress. You have to deal with it at the root, and to be able to actually fix this and to not let it be something that continues to just wreak havoc on your life, to wreak havoc in the areas that are precious and really, guys, the substance of what we're here and what we're doing and what life is all about. Okay, so we have to be able to fix those things. And so, guys, if you're at this place where you know that you're guilty, and guys, listen, I could have raised my hand to some of those in the past, and there's some of them that even now I have to fight. I have to fight to make sure that I don't ever turn to those things when the financial stress is really building up and starting to take over and starting to get a root. And so, guys, ultimately there are ways there are strategies, there are ways for us to be able to overcome that. There are the ways that I've been able to do that in my life. There are ways that our clients have been able to do that in their life. And ultimately, the people that we work with realize is that, guys, you listen, you need strategies, right? In terms of like hard strategies, numbers, you need, but a rock solid cash flow plan for your money. You need goals specifically for the future. You need to have certain systems and processes and procedures in place. That's all important. But one of the things that we've realized over the years and that our clients have realized and that we have implemented more and more is that if you guys don't know, again, like to know the strategies to psychologically handle the stress and to overcome the stress so that every day, instead of living in a state of stress and overwhelm, that you're living in a place of joy and gratitude, and you're living from a place of, I'm not worried and I'm not freaking out. Even if the numbers would say one thing, I know that my mind is in a different place and I'm going to overcome those obstacles. Guys, until you can learn how to do that, I'm just telling you, you're signing yourself up for a hard, bumpy ride and a bumpy ride through life. And you signing yourself up to be one of those people where, even if it's not at this moment, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, whether it's going to be health complications, it's going to be heart attacks, strokes, whatever it would be, whether it's going to be cancer, whether it's going to be, you guys know most physical illnesses stem from stress. And, whether it's that, whether it's your marriage is on the rocks or you're divorced, or whether, again, you're staring, you're on the verge of kids' college or retirement or whatever some of these big goals are, and you're not the least bit prepared. And that's because ultimately the coping mechanisms and the stress connected with that have been ultimately sabotaging your life one day at a time, one little thing at a time, maybe one innocent act at a time. But ultimately it's built to this place where you just feel stuck and trapped and now you feel like there's no way out. And I don't want any of you guys to suffer with that. And guys, there are ways to get over that. There are ways to deal with that extremely fast. We see people overcoming these sometimes in a matter of days, but definitely in a matter of weeks. And so guys, if you want to know how can we actually deal with the financial stress, how can we remove it out of our life so that our bodies and our marriages and our wealth are no longer being hindered and harmed by the coping mechanisms that we're ultimately turning to, guys, then I would invite you to go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call with our team, because that's what we do. That's what we're the best at. And that's what ultimately our clients did. And here they are in so many of them. You see so many testimonies here on our page or in our private Facebook group of people one after another, not only dealing with the coping mechanisms and being able to overcome those things that are absolutely sabotaging their life, but ultimately dealing with the underlying stressors so that they don't have to feel like they have to turn to those things anymore. And lo and behold, people are getting in better shape. People are having amazing marriages and those are improving. And ultimately people's wealth, their wealth is growing and increasing by the day. So guys, it's not hard, but it is if you're trying to do it alone. Okay. So definitely go to dreamteammarriage.com, book a call today. And we'd love to be able to sit down with you guys and just see, can we help? To be honest with you, we tell this to everybody. We don't know. I don't know. There's not a lot of people that are committed. There's not a lot of people that really want to fix the problem. There's not a lot of people ultimately that are just a flat out, that is a good fit for the culture of what we do. But guys, if we sit down with you and we really believe that we can help you, that we can absolutely help transform your life, and really what is it that you really need, we'll definitely talk about that and let you guys know. But guys, the awesome thing about the call is that we're really going to get clear on how is this really affecting your life? How is this really impacting your life? What are the real issues? What's really at stake and what's not working? And helping you guys figure out what are the things that have been there for so long that maybe you couldn't see. You guys know that the inside of the jar cannot read the outside of the label. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. And the reason why you're still struggling is because, again, you don't know how to fix it. You're not a professional, right? It's kind of like going to, you don't know how to fix a car and the mechanic says, hey, the engine's not working. You don't know why it's not working. All you know is it's not working. But the mechanic is trained to do that. When you go to the dentist, my tooth hurts. I don't know why. The dentist, well, here's why your tooth is in pain. Your tooth is hurting. That's what they're trained to do, guys. That's what we're trained to do. We work really hard. We invest a ton in ourselves, and we get massive results for people on those breakthrough calls, even if it's not a fit to work with you, just to figure out what is it that's really been stopping you from the life that you want and helping you guys create the best strategy to be able to get there. Okay. So go to dreamteammarriage.com and book a call today. And we'd love to speak with you and see, can we help you guys overcome the coping mechanisms, overcome the financial stress, and ultimately get your marriage back in a better way, get your health back, and ultimately get your, what's the other one? Your wealth back and start to build that significantly. Okay. Have a good day, guys. We'll talk to you later. Okay. dreamteammarriage.com.